Good morning, my brothers and sisters and all my friends. This morning we are going to conclude the great evolutionary wisdom, the great science of evolutionary wisdom, Bharat Vidya. As we talked about the three rivers in this holy confluence of Bharat Vidya, the first river was Brahm Vidya. The second river was Madhu Vidya. And the third river is Gupt Vidya. When these all three streams of wisdom, all these three sciences of wisdom, or evolutionary wisdom, get together, they are known as Triveni Sangam, the great holy confluence of three wisdom lineages. This wisdom lineage, which has the roots in the wisdom tradition of ancient India, is based on the observations of the phenomenal world, of the material world, the creation around, by those great rishis, the great tradition of truth seekers, the seekers of truth, the great rishis of India, of ancient India. They were not concerned about any personal glory or any gratification. They used to live in the forest as one of the constituent of the great nature around, not separate, not to emphasize on their identity among the great forest, the great community of the forest, of the Mother Nature. They used to be just a part of the Mother Nature without insisting upon their own identity. So they used to build a hut thatched by the grass, dry grass, and having a little clear ground around any water source. They used to select that place for their great tapasya, the great wisdom school, the great school of nature in the forest, among the wild animals and all the great constituents of this dense forest. And they were never ever concerned about their personal glory and gratification, because they were the truth seekers. And their only proclamation and their only ambition and aspiration was to seek the truth, the Satya Dharma, the Dharma of truth. And they used to say, Satyat nasti paro dharma, there is nothing greater, no religion is greater than the truth, religion of truth, the Dharma of truth. So they used to observe the whole phenomenal world going around them, because that's the first step to discover the truth, because you could compare that truth within, in your image of God. So you have to seek another model of this image of God in the nature. As they discovered the image of God within through the Brahm Vidya, and they declared, Aham Brahmasi, I am born in the image of God with all the power and potential of a divine being, and the image of God. So they sought and they used to seek the image of God around them, the God in action, the creation of God, the nature around. So through their honest observations, they could formulate and discover the laws of the universe, the laws of the nature and the phenomenal world. So through this great aspiration, this great evolutionary urge to seek the truth, so once they knew the image of the God within, of the Brahm Vidya, then they wanted to discover the phenomenal world, and they discovered that all the phenomenal world is made of universal cooperation, universal unity, the universal harmony. And they also discovered that a single entity, the illusion of separatism, is the great illusion of Maya, because there is nothing existing separate in the universe. And they discovered the great law of universal interconnectedness and universal interdependence. And that is the basis of Madhu Vidya, to understand and discover the great evolutionary science of Madhu Vidya. So that's the way they discovered the truth, and they followed the dharma of truth. Can you imagine a great rishi in this middle of the dense jungle thousands of years back, and meditating and praying for the welfare of the whole universe? He's not scared, he's not worried about his personal security. And he has taken this vow that I am not going to fight, and I am not going to fly away and run away. I am here on my rock of rest, and I am part of this whole phenomena. I am not separate, so why should I be scared of? So on that rest, the rock of rest, that yogi used to become the center of the universe, the nucleus of the life, and the whole phenomenal world will go around that. And he used to pray. And I would like to remind you, and I would like to remember myself, this great mantra which says, Sarva bhavantu sukhina, sarva santu niramaya, sarva bhadrani pashantu ma kaschit dukh bhag bhavet. Let everybody and let all the universes, all the lokas. The wisdom tradition of India believed that there are 14 universes around, or there is multi-universe theory. So let all the universes be happy. Sarva bhavantu sukhina, sarva santu niramaya. And all the sentient beings come out of the illusion of Maya, the grand illusion of separatism, and they become healthy, niramaya. And then they said the greatest statement of quantum physics, Sarva bhadrani pashantu ma kaschit dukh bhag bhavet. Let us all see the good in everybody. Let us see the good in each other, everyone, and let us have that benevolent eye, universally benevolent eye, to see good in everybody. That was the greatest statement of the greatest truth, cosmic truth. As it is said in the rustic wisdom of rural India, Jaisi drashti, vaisi srashti. The kind of the eye you have, you will have the same kind of universe around you. You will create the same kind of universe around you. Means you are the creator of your own universe. Jaisi drashti, the way you look at the world will become. exactly in same correspondence of your attitude, of your eye. Sarva bhadrani pashantu. Let us see good in each other and believe that there is universal benevolence and all are part of the God in action. So the universal interconnectedness and universal dependence, this law gave them this great evolutionary aspiration to discover the great science of unity, the great science of Madhu Vidya, that the world is made of universal unity and universal collaboration. And today the science has rediscovered all those laws of quantum physics and of the universal unity of metamaterials and all the law of emergence by Alfred Nobel Whitehead. I believe that we all are participants in this great phenomena of the universe. So those great rishis, it is something like science fiction. Those great rishis who discovered the laws of truth, the dharma of the truth, they also they were reborn in the West as great scientists to do their tapasya. They are like the bodhisattvas, the would-be Buddhas, but the ones who suspended their own nirvana for the Jagat Kalyan, for the universal welfare. They came again and were born again, like Einstein or like Alfred Nobel Whitehead, all the great tradition of scientific investigation to investigate the truth, to realize the truth. It's a great tradition, the ancient tradition of humanity. I don't want to label it East and West, but this is how it happened. So we could see all those great souls, the great bodhisattva souls taking birth in the Indian continent, on the holy land of India, to discover the truth. And later on, they performed the do-it-yourself. When they realized the truth by doing everything with their own hands, that is what the science is. And the great wisdom of Madhu Vidya was applied by seeding the brains of all the aspirants through the publications, through the diffusion of knowledge, through the books, through the help of printing presses, and then by printing the research journals and the magazines to seed the brains of all the aspirant scientists, the would-be scientists, the would-be Einsteins and would-be Whiteheads and the would-be great scientists. So my dear brothers and sisters, this great evolutionary science of Bharat Vidya is having three great rivers of wisdom, and the third is Gupt Vidya. The first one is the divination of the mind. Without the divination of the mind, through the science of yoga and through the science of Brahm Vidya, without knowing ourselves, we can know nobody. We could know nothing here. So we have to begin with know thyself. By knowing ourselves, we prepare our mind to see the truth outside. That is the first condition. So by knowing the evolutionary wisdom of Brahm Vidya, know thyself, our mind becomes ready for the next step. But we have to perform the divination of our mind to take away all the residues of karma and all the precognitive commitments and all kind of impurities in our mind and the impure patterns in our mind of falsehood, dishonesty, the cruelty, and the violence, and all kind of base selfish nature. So we have to clean, and that is the discipline of self-purgation, to clean our mind. And this is what the science of yoga is, to clean our mind from all the patterns, all the residues of past karmas, of the great chain of births. And once we perform the divination of our mind, then we perform the divination of the humanity through the Madhu Vidya, through the universal unity and universal cooperation and the universal collaboration, by applying the Brahm Vidya collectively to the whole society. And then we perform the divination of the money, which is a collective social asset. And the money, which is the greatest resource discovered, invented by humanity, which keeps us united, which keeps us interconnected, which keeps us interdependent on each other, so that we could get away from this greatest disease of the human mind, the disease of illusion, the grand illusion, the Maya. So this is the engaged wisdom, the divination of money, to help us to get over with this grand illusion of Maya. And if we don't follow all these three divinations, this great yajna, the threefold yajna of divination of mind, divination of the humanity, the great collective humanity, and the divination of money, we cannot evolve to the higher states of divinity, the divine human being. We have to perform this threefold yajna of evolutionary wisdom of Bharat Vidya. Where could we find this great wisdom? I had been the eternal student all my life, and I used to give myself a little name, Bharat Vidyarthi, and I'm one forever. Because our education never stops, and we should always have this attitude of universal, eternal student of life. And where could we read that this great book of life around us being played like a movie, and you could see the whole phenomenal world happening around you. You can watch and you could observe, like in this laboratory of Mother Earth, and you could enjoy this truth. So let us have this great intention and resolution to be the great eternal students of Dharma, of truth, and let us discover and be the students of Mother Nature, which is all wise and all benevolent. And we should divide the science and technology, which is benevolent universally, which is benevolent to the whole humanity, not to just few 1% people, the great masters. We have to now, the time is now and here, that we have to devise those ecosystem of perpetual peace and perpetual progress and perpetual prosperity for one and all on humanity, upon earth. And if we don't do, and if we only just know the wisdom. And if we don't practice it, if we don't put it in practice, we are doomed. We are in this big trouble. Because this is the greatest problem of the human mind, that by the knowledge of image of God within, and with this declaration of Aham Brahmasmi, our ego gets so inflated, becomes so big, and if we don't keep it in check, we will suffer from the greatest disease of this inflated ego, of the wisdom arrogance, and we will turn into Brahm Rakshash instead of Brahm Yogis. This is the greatest problem of knowing this wisdom, knowing the image of God. So we have to check it by practicing the infinite innocence and infinite trust in each and every one. And this is the greatest teaching of Lord Shiva, the greatest Lord, the greatest Yogi, the Mahayogi, the Adi Yogi, Lord Shiva. He is known as Bholenath, the Lord of infinite innocence. So through the engaged innocence and trust, we could check this disease of Brahm Rakshasa. Otherwise we will turn into a Brahm Rakshasa like Ravana, and we will try to use this Brahm Vidya for our personal glory and gratification, and not for the humanity. And this evolutionary wisdom of Bharat Vidya is given by Lord Shiva for the express ambition for the Jagat Kalyan, for the universal welfare, for everyone and all the sentient beings in the universe. So we have to be very careful that we don't turn into Brahm Rakshasa instead of the Brahm Yogis. The second, with the wisdom arrogance of Madhu Vidya, we may turn into the Madhu Rakshasa. And what is the Madhu Rakshasa? It is an unruly crowd with one motto: to loot, rob the whole humanity. They become like the pack of wolves, the hunting dogs, wild dogs. This crowd, which we wanted to discover through the Madhu Vidya of collective good and collective welfare through the universal unity and universal cooperation. But if this universal unity and universal cooperation is to practice the separatism, to loot and rob and steal the other people, the whole humanity, and establish the rule of tyranny and the sword, my dear brothers and sisters, we will turn into the Madhu Rakshasa. We will be like the pack of the wolves, out on the hunting, and every human being will be hunted down by this crowd. And that is the Madhu Rakshash, born out of Madhu Vidya, the wisdom arrogance of Madhu Vidya. We have to be very careful that any philosophy could also turn into a nightmare. Any evolutionary wisdom could turn into a nightmare, like science and technology has turned into a nightmare of atom bombs and neutron bombs and hydrogen bombs, which could destroy the whole planet in seconds and in minutes. We have reached to that edge that we may fall down in this infinite abyss, this bottomless pit forever. So we have to watch. We have to be very careful of this Madhu Rakshasa. The great crowd, the great unruly democracy could turn into Madhu Rakshasa. And all those nations who practice that kind of policies against the humanity, against all the other nations, saying that they are the God people, they practice the exclusive righteousness of separatism. All those 1% masters could create these Madhu Rakshasas and Brahm Rakshashas. And what happens in the last, in Gupt Vidya, the secret wisdom of money? If we don't perform the divination of money, the humanity is doomed. Because we have Mudra Rakshashas, the 1% masters have turned into Mudra Rakshash, who are only interested in collecting and creating wealth for their personal glory and gratification, which is they are hoarding and misappropriating the great social asset, the collective asset. This is the greatest truth of economics, whether we agree or not, that the money is a social asset and no one person is supposed to be the owner of the money. This is the whole problem, the greatest problem of humanity, that we believe that we are owners of the money. This is a wrong attitude of the humanity. No one could be the owner of money, because you cannot create money all by yourself, singly, individually, personally, as long as you don't exchange your goods and services with another person. So how could you claim that you are the master and the owner of the money? No, you are not. We all are the custodians of this social asset, the money. And money belongs to the whole humanity, whole society. And it is a collective asset. So we have to correct our belief system. We are not supposed to be the owners here. We are custodians of all the earth's resources and all the common resources of humanity, like money. My dear brothers and sisters, so we have to be very careful about this Mudra Rakshash, this demon, this devil in disguise, the great class of those people who are practicing exclusive righteousness and who are misappropriating the collective asset, the money, as their own. The money doesn't belong to them, believe me. This is the truth of life. This is the truth of science of economics. And if the science of economics is not based on this truth, it is no science of economics. It is a science of manipulation, misappropriation, and injustice all over the planet. And it is really like sucking the blood of the humanity by these terrible animals of greed and gluttony, these Mudra Rakshasas. So before I end the great evolutionary wisdom about Bharat Vidya, I want to remind the whole humanity and all brothers and sisters and all my friends all over the world that we have to be very careful about turning into Brahm Rakshashas, Madhu Rakshashas and Mudra Rakshashas instead of Brahm Yogi, instead of Madhu Yogi, and instead of the great Sahukara, the divine being, like Andrew Carnegie, the great Scotsman, contemporary times, who gave away his whole wealth, and he created the infrastructure of perpetual returns for the peace, progress, and prosperity of the whole humanity. Thank you very much, and have a great day and a beautiful day. Thank you very much.